So I will start again. So my name is Shannon Seban. I'm the Executive Director for European Affairs at the Combat Anti-Semitism Movement. And I am also the National Secretary of the French political party Les Républicains, in charge of fighting anti-Semitism and racism. And yeah, that's it. And I'm really happy to be here with you today. Thank you.
Welcome, Shannon. Professor.
Hi. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Good afternoon. I'm Nahyan Hilal, professor and doctor in occupational health, public health, occupational medicine. I'm also president of the Emirate Association for Occupational and Health and Community Health. This association just only started this year. It's a new association based in Abuظbي, and we would love to invite to all of you to be a guest for our next conference. Will be in October. It's about occupational health and people of determination. It's going to be the first conference in the world introduce the people of determination in the life of workforce. And also I published a book about the intelligence or about the occupational health and AI, UAE as a model. It's already in Amazon. You can also look to it. I give to some of my friends here a copy of the book.
To.
Arabic and English.
I need one.
You have it, yeah. And you would be like, I would be happy to look to the book. It's a really interesting book, and it has a lot of information about occupational and AI. Also, I am the CEO and the founder of the first workforce health company. This company actually care about the workforce in the whole work environment. And also we are the first company accredited by the US government, SAM program. We are caring about the VA program in the region. That's it about me then. Thank you so much.
So I'm so lucky today to be with an amazing esteemed panelists. And let's start with the first question. And I think I have to start with you because you are building the technology, so you will be my first target.
Unfortunately.
He will be in trouble, by the way. He will be in trouble today with me.
Yeah, I believe so. So now maybe my first question would be about how the AI actually changes, changing the family dynamics. Like you are a father of 3, mashallah, and I believe that you are experiencing that. So how the AI is changing the family dynamics and the way that the children grow, how do they learn, and how even they are interacting with the digital era.
Excellent question. So I think all of us, or most of us, the children, were the first generation of parents raising children at the age of AI. So it's incredibly challenging. It is like the first generation of parents, maybe our parents, who raised us in the age of TV or social media or search engines. So it's quite challenging because there is no textbook to look at and to learn from. The regulations are not fast enough to guide us parents what to do. So it comes down to us to create the safety net for our children, because it's changing so fast that we don't have time to adapt. That even the governments, they don't have time to set the proper regulations. Like now, if you go to YouTube, just recently, now they have age groups for 0 to 3, 3 to 5 years old, 5 to 13, and then 13 plus. It took them years to do that on scale, so that now children, when they go and sign up on YouTube, they have a specific category of videos that they can see. It's going to take even longer for governments, big tech, regulations to adapt the systems in place. They have to do that first before it comes to us, the tech guys, the builders, so we enforce it. That has to happen first. Unfortunately, because it's changing so fast, it's coming down to us, the parents, to set the rules and guide our children on when AI is useful, when it is confidently wrong, not to listen to it, and how to utilize it without fearing it and without blocking it from our kids. Because they're going to use it, whether we like it or not, it's already there and they're already using it.
Very, very valid point, because it's really very challenging to see who is accountable really about this. Is it the government? Is it the Are they the developers, the schools, the parents? So I believe that we need like some kind of interaction between all these pillars
All of them,
together.
all of them.
All of them together. So if you allow me to move to Ms. Huda now, and I would like to bring in the ethical lens, okay, early in the discussion. So as a researcher, in your point of view, what do you see as the key ethical considerations when we introduce AI tools in family and educational environments?
Thank you so much for having me here, and it's great to be with such an amazing
Thank you.
panel. I'm learning from each one of you, and it's I'm really very grateful to the UAE for hosting such an amazing event. So in general, for whatever we do in life, whether it's the educational system for children, whether it's medicine we are introducing to patients, there are studies that are done on it. So you try the drug, you study it, you have records of the good effect, the bad effect, the efficacy. Same thing with educational tools. I mean, this educational tool, like you said, they've been set over years, they've been studied over years. AI is just taking us on a surprise. And, as parents, as educators, I mean, as a teacher in a school, what do you do? I mean, the child he find the information, come back. And how can you really, I think there need to be, from an ethical point of view, first there need to be studies to be done to see really the effect of these tools on children, on their education, the positive and the negative. But also there need to be regulation to be put in place about tools that are just thrown out there. It's like, I come from the medical field. It's like I'm saying, there are all these medication. I'm going to throw it on the market, and I think it will have this and this and that, but I can't prove it, and I don't know. And, sorry, yeah, I'll put it I'll put these medications on the market and say, oh, I think it will help in this and that, but I can't prove it first, and then I don't know what the side effect of it. So I think there need to be regulation to study all these tools, to do follow-up on kids, to do follow-up on adults, and then, really there need to be a global entity to do that.
Coming from an academic perspective, do you think that there is enough research in this field, or you think more efforts need to be
To my knowledge, at least from what I see, but probably, at a zero, it's a tool that's been thrown out there and without being studied. And to be honest, I'm surprised that's been thrown out there without anyone saying, wait, it's like a car, you throw it out and you don't know how to drive it. And it's driving us.
I can't
Already
agree more.
driving.
So I will move now to Professor Nahyan, and I will include here my question and more related to the parents. So your work is community and occupational health, correct? Perfect, you are the expert here. So which is really about the people day-to-day well-being, okay? Now let's get practical for the families maybe here in this room. How can parents and guardians ensure that the safe and responsible use of AI by their children and teenagers? And personally, I'm very interested to know, because I'm having 2 teenagers at home and I'm really very worried about them.
Unfortunately, I have 4 actually. I have 2, I have 4. And each one of them, they have a gap between them. The youngest one is now 11 years old. The oldest one is 27 years old. Meaning that my kids, they actually been involved in all this technology in developing, or we can say it, resolution or the revolution of the technology to the AI. As you know, Dr. Rehab and also my colleagues, that we have actually a fundamental change and speed of, we call it socio-psychological well-being, as you mentioned in your question, which need from us to be really aware about what's going around. For myself, I can say we can come to some of phrase we can call it parents digital. Maybe some of you hear about the parents or parents digital, that the parents need to really be aware about what their kids actually watching, using, looking, and also not going to be as restricted. No, we need to be really smart in the way to be friend with our kids. As you know, today revolution of AI is crazy. As Nicholas mentioned about it, I am also a guy who's crazy of AI, by the way, just to let you know, because we introduced in our centers around the UAE right now, we're developing some of the software that helping us as occupational health to how to caring about the workforce from different environment, that from high risk to medium risk to low risk, and the way that to save life and say also safety and also the health of the employee and all the around the work environment. Therefore, parents need to be educate themselves first. They need to be aware about what actually their kids using. I know our kids are so smart. They're faster than us. Now myself, with my age now 52 years old, my son is 11 years. They're smart. He's smarter than me. Be honest, all of us. We need to try to find a way that can make our home, our family, okay, looking for how we can bring the value of our community, the value of our belief, the value of our, all the values that we have. As you know, we, from the Gulf region, we have different values than others, than other countries, but we are all sharing the same value of humanity. Like, you know, the care, love, also we are looking for the safety of our kids. In the end, what we need to be a smart parents. Not as, sorry to say, my parents, and your parents maybe, you know, they be a little bit hard with us, harsh with us. And I think all of you have been in that situation with their parents. But nowadays we are more educated. We are more aware about what's going on around us in technology and AI. And I believe it's the responsibility of the family, the whole family, not only the parents, also the elder brother, sister, grandmom, grandfather. Those actually they have also a value or effect in how we can guide our kids to the right direction. Regarding the ethics or regarding the regulation of the AI, Alhamdulillah, telling you UAE, it has already a lot of regulations been in place. Already I have presentation last year in the lawyer conference, and my presentation was about the AI and the ethics as well in medical field. Alhamdulillah, UAE, it is actually advanced than other countries in replacing the regulations. I shared with you in the WhatsApp. You look to it. There's a lot of regulations, and we are speed. We cannot catch the speed of the AI. But we try as UAE government really to care about the updating regulations to protect the community, to protect all of us. And I believe that us as a community, we need also to help the government, like the high-tech technology, and also they need to be aware when they are actually building the AI, they know the value of this community, the value of these people. And that's why it should be both sides, the government legislation level and also the IT company. They need actually to university. I forget about university, Rahaf. University really play a big role in any updating study or research. As my colleagues mentioned about medical research, we did a lot of research before we're gonna get to the ethic level and also regulation and policy. And I believe all of us will need to be in one direction for how we can take about the family and the kids. Thank you so much.
I totally agree with you. Thank you very much, Professor Nahyan. This will take me maybe to a very important core of our discussion, which is the policy. So here we need to talk about policy and engineering. Now, according to your experience in the field and like policy structure, so how do you think that the policymaker can work with the engineers and developers to come up with regulations? Because you care about people, and young people are part of them. So what do you think is going on, and what options we have?
Thanks a lot for this question. That can be like technical at some point, but I think it's like really important to bring the topic and to discuss it. You know, I'm particularly convinced about like the advantages of AI. I'm not like using it on a daily basis, but at some point, I mean, I'm kind of curious and trying to use ChatGPT, Grok, and all like this kind of platforms of AI. And I do admit that at some point it's quite surprising how it can be efficient and how you can like win time and save time for some time-consuming daily task. But at the same time, I must admit that I'm quite preoccupied by the way it evolves. It evolves like very quickly, and we have to adapt to this. And there are like some bad sides of technologies. Of course, like good sides, and we just discussed about it. But the bad side is that we can not only always like control what's happening in this, and especially for children. And when it comes to children, I just would like to point out and to highlight an example that I find is really interesting, is the example of the United Kingdom. I don't know if anyone in this room have heard about the AADC. The AADC is the children's code that has been adopted in the United Kingdom. It means like the age appropriate design code. And this regulatory act is particularly innovative and it's kind of unique in the world. That means that this policy is based and kind of designed on the children's needs. That means that it will be built around the children's needs and all the people that can have access to social media, online platforms, games and such, for people who are aged under 18 years old. And I find that this approach is particularly innovative, and some other countries all across Europe, but also all across the world, should also take like this kind of approach into consideration. That means that you do not like tackle the issue of how to react to bad attitude online. You also want to work on how to work on the design of the projects. And this regulatory, like this policy, is based on the children's needs. And I think it's particularly important. We do not have to adapt our policy and to try to find a way to punish people afterwards. We also have, and I think that this is like the most important, to act before and to prevent. And that will maybe leads me to my second point, which is I'm working at the European level. And as I can see it on a daily basis, we have a regulatory, an act which is particularly efficient, which is the Digital Services Act. And it should apply to online platforms, TikTok, X, Instagram and such. And normally, they do have the responsibility to prevent the sharing of content that are nurtured by hate online, and they should also remove it. The fact is that they do not act this way, because this is like their business model. We should also take this into consideration. Right now, online platforms are also using audience, and the more engagement they have in their publications, the more money they will earn. That's particularly preoccupying, and this is like the new world we are entering. So our goal as policymakers at some point is to try to understand how it works and try then to design our policy together with online platforms in order to move forward for a better and a safer world.
Thank you very much. This is really inspiring, and thanks for sharing the experience of European Union. Please.
As you know, maybe you hear all of us about the Australian government already banned for those kids under age of the social media.
Yeah.
And you believe like in a couple of months, 3 months, which is actually, it wasn't the government, by the way, it was a community movement that time. Because the parents actually been pushing and pressure to the government to ban and also to restrict some of the social media for the age of the kids. Also, as my colleague mentioned about the European really, I qualified from UK and from England, and I know how they're caring about all this digital and also about the technology. Recently, I believe also you know about this Scandinavian country like Norway or Finland. They restrict now using digital in schooling. Now the question came, why they restrict it? Because they want actually to improve the kids' capabilities and to be part of their innovation as a human, not to using the machine or the technology. They want the kids to be more human than to be attached with the technology and with the machinery. Therefore, I believe we have tools that we can reduce the dangers, as we mentioned now, or the exposure of the AI of our kids by small actions from home, As I know some of my family, Friday, because we're gathering Friday, our grandfather, grandmother did not allow the kids to bring the phone with them in that day. If they will bring it, they have like a box they will throw there, because they don't want to allow anyone to be away. They want all the kids to be gathered, listening to the parents, listening to the grandma, and this is also action that we in our hands. Then the community schooling, and also then the government, and I believe all of us we need to be involved with small action.
Agreed.
We can do some big things, a big change. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Professor Nahyan, for this feedback, and I totally agree with you. We have a great role doing that to take control of what's happening. I believe that talking about emotional intelligence and also the well-being of the children is very important, especially when we talk about the AI. So maybe this question may be more to Ms. Huda and Professor Nahyan, but please, if you feel
Sure.
welcome to contribute.
We call it parents or we call it parent emotion, or not to say digital emotion.
Exactly.
Digital, it can help us in such way, but it's no emotion in their decision or in. And I have this experience with my daughter actually, and she told me one day, Dad, I have now a friend, a new friend, feeling about me, understand about me. It was ChatGPT. But she's laughing, by the way. She's just only joking with me because she knows I'm not with that side to tell the ChatGPT or this intelligent about my secret, about my emotion. But she tried because she's an author, by the way, also. And what she found out, there's no immunity or emotional when she's actually discussed or she sharing. It's just only like a data, just only answer. But human being, like as a parents, as a brother and sister, as a friends, we have that emotion, human emotion. Machine cannot reach to that level. It can see maybe in some way to relaxing you by answering you, don't worry, it's okay. But there is other things that cannot be machine replace the human relation and emotion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is a very good example, and this reflects the maturity of your daughter. But to be honest, like it's not necessarily that all the kids will act the same, because according to what I'm reading, there are many like children that they are sharing their feelings with the AI and waiting to have like some feedback.
We have a lot of cases, Rahaf, and it's a dangerous case, and that's why I said parents and the community, they need to do some role.
And if I may to add something on what you just said, which is particularly interesting, and thanks a lot for sharing this with us. I have the feeling that we also, we should also be realistic at some point and take into consideration the fact that we cannot control AI, but we do have the duty to educate the young generation to critical thinking at some point and to be able to recognize what's wrong online and what's right online. And that's also our duty. If we tell our children and our future generation that you will master AI, be sure you will master AI, that's not right. And we are lying. Our duty as policymakers, education, government, like teachers, and even at home when it comes to parents, the most important and what's most urgent according to me is to train this future generation, to be able to recognize online what's a fake news, what's AI generated. We can see a lot of contents right now which looks like so real that you are not able to recognize whether it's it's a right content or a fake one, you know what I mean? And I think that it's quite easy. If we do realize that there is an issue with this, if we do want to invest the needed means, and it also means financial means, in order to train this future generation to say, okay, I have this bottle, for example, okay, I cannot tell whether it's what's written in it is fake or it's wrong, whether it is a fake news or not. I will check myself. I will cross information. I will try to check by myself.
Critical thinking.
You know what I mean? And I think that this is the most important message we also have to share to this new generation, to try to be responsible at some point. And of course, that's really important because we can see, and some studies prove it, that you do have a real impact on the well-being of our children. Of course, AI is good, but at some point, when you are scrolling all day long, when you can see all this information and so on, it's not good for your well-being and for mental health. So if we do not address this topic right now, we will be suffering even more in the future. And I think that cooperation is really important between companies, organizations, civil societies, in government, NGO and such. We are all together in this.
I don't want to come to the position to be isolation community. Be careful, all of us. If we're gonna go direction ourselves to the AI, trust me, we'll come in the position we're gonna have isolation community. And I totally agree with my colleagues about that. And just only, this is very dangerous, by the way. I'm just want to announce that this is really dangerous because I found a lot of cases. I have case also. I have from occupational case. They are coming to me from different work environment. They're actually happy to be alone in their own phone. And this actually is the start of this, I told, isolation community, which is really dangerous. And they're not happy to share with anyone. And I believe some of you, they have experience with others and with colleagues. And you can say only they will be isolated in their own, in their room. And there's one thing I found out nowadays, people, maybe you know, they staying in the bathroom hours. The reason why? The phone. Because they feel their comfort in the bathroom than to be in his room or with their family room. That's why we need really be aware about the digital and also technology and AI. Thank you.
You know, to add to that, it's, you know, part of us developing our emotional intelligence is we are in a certain situation, you know, we come to our parents, we tell them what happened, the parents discuss it with us, and that emotional kind of feedback that you get from a parent is very important in the emotional growth of a child. And when you have a child totally dependent, you know, on an AI, and a parent that's not available, then, you know, so parents need to be available because they need to
initiate the connection. Yeah.
You know, because yes, we can ask AI to many questions and they could solve many issues for us. But again, that connection between parent, child, even parent and friend, it's very important to develop us emotionally, but also from an ethical point of view. We learn all our ethics from our parents, from our friends, from our teachers. And AI cannot give us that. So I think it's very important that parents, yes, it makes life easier that the child go ask AI to help them with homework, but you know, they cannot really develop their emotional growth without really having a parent, a friend, an aunt, and you know, I mean, you know, grandparents. I think these are all important.
Absolutely. So do you want to
Totally
add
agree.
something, Nicholas?
Yes, of course. So the bad news is that AI is evolving in such a pace that pretty soon, maybe now you look at the picture and you think, okay, this is probably AI. That's going to end very soon. Maybe in a year's time, I'm not going to exaggerate, you won't be able to tell the difference at all. Emotional intelligence, the models that they're training, this from a technical point of view, is evolving so fast, we're not going to be able to tell a difference very soon. So our role as parents is, I agree with Dr. Huda, is to initiate that connection and teach our parents not how to use AI. AI is so easy, anyone can use it. But when to use AI responsibly and when not to use it. And I agree also with Shannon to have the critical thinking of observing that content that they see on the screen and acknowledge that this could be AI. This could be untrue, especially for hateful content, for spreading hate speech and violence. This is our responsibility. Of course, it's the responsibility of the policymakers and the governments, but these guys need time. They need years to evolve to reach that stage. So it's coming down to us parents to educate our children, to engage with them as early as possible. As Dr. Huda said, when the parent is not available, the child is going to go somewhere to get that emotional connection. And unfortunately, AI now is so advanced. It's so advanced. You can tell it, okay, be my dad, and it's going to speak to you like a dad. And this is very dangerous. I agree with you. This is very dangerous. And the policy makers, regulations, big tech has a conflict of interest, a clear conflict of interest here. Social media has a clear conflict of interest. They want controversy. They want engagements. They want time on site. So it's coming back to us, the community, the New Zealand example, the Australian example. It was community initiated to create that age barrier in order to use AI. I totally agree. Totally agree. We're in a tough spot.
Please.
Yeah, I just wanted to add something because the background of this panel discussion is about also like coexistence and tolerance. And I just wanted to mention something. At the Combat Anti-Semitism movement, we do have like our Anti-Semitism Research Center, and we conducted many surveys in order to try to investigate and to try to see how social media, let's say TikTok, for example, on Instagram, behave in order to promote contents that are like driven by hate. And we realized twice in May 2026 that there, like on TikTok, there were like some rabbis that were like generated by AI that were fake, that were like spreading anti-Semitic tropes and conspiracy theories. So we revealed this way. So that's particularly preoccupying because they were like using the appearance of rabbis and such, but they were like sharing and spreading some content that were like anti-Semitic. And we just revealed a few days ago, basically, that Instagram was also doing the same. We decided to create some accounts on Instagram. These accounts were like following some health, food topics and such, and they were like redirected to anti-Semitic contents. That means a lot. That means also that behind what's going on our social media, there is also questions of algorithms. And behind AI, we also have to master and to understand how algorithms work in order to be able to master anti-Semitic, let's say, topics, anti-Semitic speeches, racist speeches and such. That's particularly preoccupying. And it also leads us to the question, which is that AI is much more clever than the human being at some point, because it goes
already
better.
way more clever.
Definitely, you know what I mean. So algorithms, it's really difficult to master it. It's kind of easy to design it. You have some people that are like quite at ease with this, and this is like their work. But at the end, if we would like to master what's going on online, that can often lead to some violence offline, we also have to understand how algorithms are built, how they work, how they operate in order to prevent this kind of content. So when it comes to anti-Semitism, when it comes to racism, to xenophobia, to all this kind of hatred and discrimination, we also have to keep keep in mind that algorithms are sometimes way more clever than human beings, and that's particularly preoccupying.
This is alarming, Shannon. It's really alarming.
You know what's even more alarming? Even the big tech creators of the algorithm, they don't understand how it works.
Wow. Exactly.
They don't understand.
You're right.
If you grab your child's tablet, you can go and do it right now and just scroll through the videos that is recommended.
Exactly.
You'll be shocked.
Exactly.
Because it is the incentive of this algorithm is to drive clicks. That's it.
Exactly.
Drive clicks to show ads to get more money.
Exactly.
That's it. It is not the health and well-being of your child.
No.
Not at all.
They are making money out of the mental health of the new generation. You know what I mean? It's like a business model. It is a business model.
That's why, Dr. We need really careful about the data protection of the child.
Yeah.
This is also one of the key that as a policymakers, as also companies, private companies, okay, developing this AI or algorithm, we need really careful about our kids' data. We need to have a protection for that. It should be somehow to not allow companies and to actually using the data of our kids and our child.
You know, in my opinion, we need to have global entity that regulate that. I mean, when cars came out, when cars were first invented, they went on the roads. There were no regulation. There was no driving.
No age for driving license.
No age for driving. There was no law for driving. This came with time as cars became in abundance and there were accidents. So I think there need to be a global entity, not in one country, but globally, because yes, I'll protect my child here, but I cannot protect him when he goes to school somewhere else in a different country. So there need to be a global entity that regulate that, whether
International.
International, exactly. Whether it's come to health, whether it's come to, you know,
I think this is years into the future, and we don't have time.
We need to do it now. I mean, because again, you cannot put all these cars or all this AI out there without having
Still, the
regulation.
self-driving cars we could not regulate. Still unregulated. So imagine global education or age-based regulation. This will take years. And I think, you know what I struggle with every day, every single day, is that with all these regulations in the European Union and the UAE, how can you enforce those regulations? Because the child can pick up their phone, go to App Store owned by Apple's in America, and download ChatGPT, zero control, and chat with ChatGPT or Grok or whatever, and we have zero control. This is why I'm trying in my agency and my colleagues here in the UAE to bring that into the UAE from the models, the training. The models, sometimes they are trained on anti-Semitic content. The models are sometimes trained on hateful content. The models are sometimes like less than 5% training in Arabic language, 95% in English. It's if we have to, until we get there, the global regulation, we need to take it into our own hands and build it here in the UAE, on UAE servers, and control it so we can at least enforce the regulations. Otherwise, no enforcement.
This is very important. Awareness educations. We need also to be at school, at universities, institutions, awareness. And trust me, awareness is not going to cost us that much. If you're really going to take care about this simple awareness and daily, or we can say it weekly, or we can make it as a part of the introductions for our kids in schooling and university, I think it will have really a barriers or protection or prevention of our kids.
Thank you very much. Unfortunately, the 45 minutes is not enough to discuss this important thing, but personally speaking, I learned a lot from you. I would really thank you, because we can conclude that this technology will continue to grow and grow, but from our side also we need to continue working on our values. We need to continue working on the safeguards and also our human relationships, because I believe this can help us stand well. So again, I would like to thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
On
you so
behalf
much.
of all the audience, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.